The cabin was never meant to be a permanent stay. It was supposed to be a weekend escape. 3 friends, one old forest cabin, and 2 nights away from phones, noise, and responsibility. A simple break from the city. That's what we told ourselves when we turned off the highway and drove deep into the woods, following a narrow gravel road that looked less traveled with every mile. By the time we reached the cabin, the sun was already beginning to dip behind the trees. The place looked exactly like the photos online, small, wooden, and isolated. Tall pine trees surrounded it on all sides, their tops swaying gently in the wind, whispering in a way that made the air feel alive. There were no nearby houses, no neighbors, no cell signal, just forest. Perfect, Mark said as he stepped out of the car, stretching his arms. No people, no noise, just peace. I remember hesitating before getting out. Something about the silence felt wrong. Not calm, not peaceful. It was heavy, like the woods were holding their breath. I shook the thought away and grabbed my bag. That was my first mistake. The first night, the cabin interior was simple. 2 small bedrooms, a kitchen, a fireplace, and a narrow hallway connecting everything together. Old wooden floors creaked under every step, but that didn't bother us. Old buildings always make noise. That we cooked dinner, laughed, and played cards by lantern light as darkness swallowed the forest outside. The windows reflected only our own faces now. Beyond them was pitch black. By midnight, we were exhausted. Mark took one bedroom. Sarah and I shared the other. Before turning in, Mark joked, "If anyone hears creepy forest noises tonight, just remember, bears don't knock." We laughed. I wish we hadn't. Sometime after I fell asleep, I woke up suddenly in a dream. No noise, just a feeling, that unmistakable sensation of being watched. The room was dark, lit only by moonlight creeping through the thin curtains. I lay still, listening. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. They came from the hallway outside our bedroom. Not the random creaks of old wood settling, but the steady rhythm of something walking. Heel, toe, heel, toe. I held my breath. The steps stopped just outside our door, then continued away from us. I glanced at Sarah. She was wide awake, staring at the ceiling. "You hear that?" I whispered. She swallowed. "Yeah." We sat up, listening as the footsteps moved toward the living room, then faded. After a long moment of silence, Sarah exhaled. "Probably Mark." I wanted to believe that, but something didn't sit right. Mark was a loud walker. Heavy steps. These were light, careful, almost curious. Still, we eventually convinced ourselves it was nothing. We went back to sleep. Morning lies. The next morning, sunlight poured into the cabin like nothing had ever been wrong. Birds chirped. The forest looked harmless again. At breakfast, I casually asked Mark, "Hey, were you walking around last night?" He frowned. "No." I passed out the second my head hit the pillow. Sarah and I exchanged looks. "Did you hear anything?" Mark asked. "Just cabin noises." I said quickly that I didn't want to be the one to ruin the mood. The rest of the day passed peacefully. We hiked nearby trails, took photos, and joked about how paranoid we'd been. By evening, the fear had faded into something we could laugh at. Until night came again. The second night, we were sitting by the fireplace when it started. Footsteps. This time, there was no mistaking it. They came from outside, crunching slowly over leaves and dirt, circling the cabin. We froze. Mark grabbed the flashlight. Probably a deer. But deer don't walk like that. The steps paused near the front door. Then we heard something worse. The porch creaked. Someone, or something, had stepped onto it. The handle didn't turn. There was no knock, just waiting. After a minute, the footsteps retreated back into the forest. No one spoke for a long time. "That's it," Sarah finally said. "We're leaving in the morning." None of us argued. No one there. We locked every door and window before going to bed. I didn't sleep. Sometime after 3 a.m., the footsteps returned. This time, they were inside the cabin, walking down the hallway. Slowly. I sat up, heart pounding. The steps stopped directly outside my bedroom door. Then came a soft sound, breathing. Right on the other side of the door. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but fear pinned me in place. After what felt like hours, the breathing faded. The footsteps walked away. When morning came, we packed immediately. Before leaving, Mark checked the cabin. No broken locks, no footprints. Nothing out of place. Except one thing. On the dusty floor of the hallway, right outside our bedroom, were faint marks, bare footprints. but they stopped halfway down the hall to as if whoever made them simply vanished. The truth we learned later weeks after the trip. Curiosity got the better of me. I searched the cabin's address online, buried in an old local forum. I found a post. Years earlier, a man had gone missing while staying alone in that cabin. Locals claimed he was obsessed with sounds, said he kept hearing footsteps at night. He was never found. The last line of the post chilled me. Some say he still walks the halls, listening for company. Why I still can't sleep sometimes, late at night, when my house is quiet, I hear it again. Footsteps, moving slowly down my hallway, stopping just outside my door. And every time, I remember, we heard footsteps, but no one was there.